Hi, welcome to this Facebook Live video. I'm a little bit distracted because I found this beautiful space where I'm staying in Ubud. And just right now someone started, rotate my phone, oh yeah. Someone started climbing that coconut tree. I don't know if you can see it, but next door coconuts are falling out. Someone is actually climbing in the tree to make the coconuts drop. So life is always quite amazing here. So with the dropping coconuts, I will be sharing something that came to mind yesterday when I met an amazing, wonderful lady who is, she's always been in sales and now she's starting her own. She has a lot of successful wellness companies, and we are both. Our journey was quite similar in a way that my background was in economics and science, and through working and founding the company Move It 5 years ago, I made it my mission to prevent disease in companies. So whatever question we received from a company, whether it would be help us preventing sitting disease, help us preventing burnout, how can we motivate people to work healthy, to be happy? Now, through this research, I started with the basic topics, which I found a lot of background and research articles, movement, sleep, nutrition. But then I came to some topics and I found some basic research, but not a full picture. It's like it's fully evolving, the TEDx talks, and it's amazing what's happening right now. And from everything I've learned and gathered for the last years, there are 4 concepts I'd like to share today, and I've drawn some pictures. And these concepts are all about productivity. And through my studies, I just keep seeing and experiencing myself how important the concept of energy is. But I'm like, what the hell is energy? What does it even mean? Is it like, you know, when you feel energized, how can you measure it? And it's always been my focus in measuring. So what I want to share today is 4 topics related to productivity, coming a bit from the spiritual realms, but grounding them with as much knowledge, research, and my own insights. And insights from other people I talk to all over the world. And the reason I'm sharing this is because I think many of you and most of the people I come in contact with are like, we want to do everything to understand how human behavior works, but the spiritual fluffiness, it's not really for me. My mind needs to understand. And I fully agree. For me, my mind, my heart, and my gut, these 3 need to be aligned. So I'm usually a starter from my gut and I do something, then it comes to my heart, I understand, I'm compassionate, and then the ratio follows. But with many people, it's the other way around, and you need to have rational basics first, which is logical too, and which is how the education system is also based. So I'll be sharing 4 concepts, and the first concept I wanna share with you is something that fascinated me. So I started, suddenly I saw Carl Sagan, who's like this researcher of the universe, of planets. And one of the things he said is like, everyone is a scientist. And I was like, how really? And he said, everyone is a scientist because science is asking the why questions and then getting enough variables to have controlled situations. But it starts with asking the constant whys. And a lot of these big thinkers have been doing the same, like this curiosity for over the years. So I was like a couple of years ago, fine, what if I every day start asking the why questions? And Cavallo, thanks for joining and sharing the mind, heart. Good, awesome. If you have any questions during the interview, you can always ask me. So, to share this first concept, so when Carl Sagan said, okay, science is asking the why, and I started asking why questions, I was reading like these books of Steve Jobs, big thinkers just a couple of decades ago, but also Einstein and big thinkers 100 years ago. And the funny thing was they were never good in just one thing. They were good in everything. They were good in both the, like Einstein, he wasn't just into his one core field. It's changing over the past of his life where he became more focused. But they were talking about love, they were talking about health, they were talking about well-being, and that's what I researched. How did all these big thinkers from past decades, and also right now, and I studied their personalities, because one thing that was very common in many of those people is that people both loved and hated them. And they both said, this can be the most kind person, but the other moment he's like a dick, you know? And that was like a similarity I saw in a lot of these people. And then when I got into into the spiritual world, and especially Eastern philosophy. And they talked a lot in yoga about yin and yang, and this, and I found the research, which is like yoga teachers who shared a lot of research in their classes. Like, you have the sympathetic nerve system, which is about acting. You have the parasympathetic nerve system, which is about calming down. The yin and the yang. They also call it the feminine and the masculine. So I started working and playing, and I can actually start experimenting with myself. Like, I'm very in my masculine right now, goal-oriented, bullets, action. But then to balance it, it's like a battery. It's like a plus and a minus. So the more I see it like a little bit of a circle. The more I go very much in a plus or high goal-oriented deadlines. Hey, I told myself I'm gonna write a book in a month. So I've done these things before, and then I go very much in the masculine. But then the trick is to go enough to the other part of the circle, to the feminine, which is like full relaxation. And until 3 or 4 years ago, I honestly had no idea what relaxing meant. I just thought it was sleeping. Until I did yoga nidra, all these kinds of meditation. And I could feel when I was really resting, like oxygen bubbles would come from my body, energy. I would start feeling tingling all over my body. I was like, how do I explain this? What the hell is this? So then in this surge between productivity and the scientific world and the spiritual world, I couldn't ignore that there are some things, and I was looking for the research. So more and more I related it to people like, Tony Robbins, all these people that are doing things very differently, looking at things differently. Go out of your comfort zone. And that's one I think everyone knows, every sporter knows, you're not going to grow if you don't go out of your comfort zone. And it's something I learned when I was a sporter and I wanted to become a Belgian champion. And step by step, I knew if I cut the process. I wasn't sure it was going to happen, but I believed in it, and it happened. So when you have a big, and that's what all these big thinkers about goals say, cut it in small goals, get something going, and that's what I'm doing right now. I'm not at a big goal of what I'm trying to say here today. This is just a step in the process I've been working on for years. So you have all these teachers sharing about goals, action, go through the fire, go for it. And it's true, and that's a bit what I hear a lot of people say, yes, spirituality, you meditate and everything will come to you. And they're right, you need the action, which is in the circle, go to the masculine. And the more you can go to the masculine, go back to the feminine. Now, this feminine is very interesting because it's also called chaos. And it literally, there's research literally showing how chaos in neurology in the brain is happening. So imagine this is all about productivity, right? So let's say you have a new project. I want to write a book in a month, for example. Then first it's like, oh my God, can I do it? And get some self-confidence. Now, the quickest way to change your behavior, and that's coming from psychology, behavior change, is changing your identity. I will write a book in a month. I'm an author. Change your identity. Start talking to people. This does something to your mind, because if before you thought, I cannot do it, you literally start changing beliefs and brain pathways. It's like in the brain we have all of these highways. And this is actually really interesting, because then you can kind of see in this chaos, which is more the feminine, you create dreams. This is what Walt Disney says, and if you look at the movies of Walt Disney, if you can visualize it, you can do it. This is the feminine. And then this is also called chaos. And then the opposite is structure. And this is what companies love, because every idea starts with chaos, but to make it and bring it in the world, it needs to be literally grounded. So this is again a couple of concepts, but to make the summary of it, how I see it is that it's like a little bit of a circle. It's in the middle you have your comfort zone, and you can stay in it, and you go a bit in action, and you can surrender a bit. But if you learn to go more in action and surrender even more, this is like a battery. So the more you go out of your comfort zone in action or in dreams, the more you go out, the bigger the battery and the energy becomes. So this is something I've been working on, and I think a lot of people who are resonating with this have the same experience. So I'm very interested after this Facebook Live if you share all your thoughts and insights, and again with this idea of how can we explain that productivity isn't always in the masculine energy linear, and sometimes You can do the same work in an hour instead of 10 hours. And this is what's happening today. And this is the whole revolution of no more 9 to 5. It's not really about people that don't want to work anymore, or generations that don't want to work anymore. It's about knowing that it doesn't mean 8 hours of work is going to get the same linear result. Sometimes it does, but if it's on innovation and creativity, what most jobs will become in the future, because most repetitive jobs that are linear can easily be replaced by machines, we need to harness this power of the feminine, of the creativity, of the dreams, without losing action and doing it. Because if something comes on your path, hey, I want to write a book, and someone says, hey, I want to write 2 pages with you. Nah, I want to do it myself. Well, it doesn't work, right? So you have to bring it on. So this is a bit the first contact I wanted to share in today in my quest for the last years, where I've been studying for companies. How can we measure, make people more happy, more productive? It's the same. If you're happy, if you're flowing, if your battery is open and full, if you're eager to act, but you can also surrender and you're not in this control mode and your body is fully tense of trying to control it all, bam, you have the perfect battery. And then the second concept I want to share is, you could see all of us like batteries. And this is a word I'm going to share that often brings resistance with me too in the beginning, the chakras. So chakras there's 7, but there's a lot more. 7 points in the body, all related to a body part. And when interacting with people, we're all batteries. So each chakra is a little battery. Each chakra, for example, at the throat, you can imagine it as a wheel where energy flows. It's like an extra blood flow, you could see, like the blood is flowing all through the body. Oxygen goes through the body, but sometimes you can see people are tense in their throats. And the energy, the oxygen isn't flowing. This could be a minus of this throat chakra, which is a point, whether you believe it's a representation or you can look at the Eastern science. It's really beautiful how it works. So if you meet someone and like in the office, you see suddenly your throat go like this, it could be that you're a minus and the person you're meeting is a plus. And that's very interesting because then, oh my God. So probably this person has more of a battery in the throat. And then you can learn. And usually what happens is, I want to run away because I feel, I don't feel good. I want to run away. Now, if you start learning, and that's what I've been playing with for years, and it's beautiful in social interactions, leadership, relations. If you feel it happening wherever in your body, and you know the meaning of the body part, like, oh, I have to speak my truth because it's my throat. But someone is so good in words and I'm fully overwhelmed. And then you can ground and breathe and open it up. And then you can actually learn from this person in front of you. So this second concept, which I'm going to touch very slightly, is the first one was about work and productivity, about the battery, the comfort zone. And the second one is about how you can connect chakras with other people. Now, a third concept I also would like to share with you is about the moon. There's all these things about spirituality, about the moon, and I mean, it's undeniable that feminine moon circles, they're called, when women have their period, it is related to the moon. And it's not many police officers tell me, when there's a full moon, there's more accidents. And there's a lot of things, but like the buttons, just a second, I'll be right back. Okay, I'm back. So the third concept is about this moon, and it's actually very simple. I used to surf, and we all knew when it's a full moon, the tides go higher. So surf goes easier because, well, easier. I can't explain it best, ask a surfer, but when it's high tide, the waves become bigger because the moon has an effect on the earth and high and low tides. Now our bodies, and that is scientific, it's 80-90% of water. So which means it's very simple to explain, to give a rational explanation, and I'm fully not there yet, and not everything is explainable, for sure. But we're 80 or 90% water, meaning if the sea can go to high and low tide, we can go to high and low tide. Which means if a chakra or if a part of your body is blocked and the water is being pulled by this, it's not gravity, but it's the moon, it's gonna set things free, and this can explain accidents or more emotions coming up. There's a lot of research showing now that 70% of all disease is stuck emotion. Emotions are also chemicals molecules that blend together. You have a trauma, your body makes a reaction and stores it somewhere in the body, and often it stays there. You can feel it as little knots, and this is then coming from physiotherapy, so you can get the knots out. There's a fascia in the body that can get stuck. For example, one of my teachers had done some experiments with people who passed away, and they were walking like this, and she said the fascia, which is the layer outside of the muscle of this part, was actually connected to the belly, which means people started walking like this, and you could kind of pull it back open. So there's so much going on today, and I'm so excited and fascinated, and it's all related to productivity, because the more tension in your body, the more tension in the brain. The less tension in the brain, the more space, left brain, right brain, the more you can go in that feminine and in that masculine. So I've been just touching 3 concepts. The 4th one, and it's actually my favorite one, Einstein. He had this formula called E is mc to the second. One of the things I do is I meditate a lot, and suddenly I was thinking about Einstein and how they used this when it's about energy. He made the most powerful energy, right? It was used for nuclear energy, and nuclear energy is the most powerful. So E is mc to the second, and this is follow me or don't follow me or challenge me, please. But what I've been talking to a lot of people, both from spiritual realms and science realms, is what if this formula had another meaning? What if he was meaning energy is the sea of creation, of chaos, of this feminine quadrant? I don't know how to say it in English, but with 2. So it means you need to have a dream and a vision and a goal, and change your brain first for then it to manifest. And the M could be momentum or manifestation, meaning that energy is, again, this go out of your comfort zone, and the more the C and the 2, the more you go out into creation and having to the guts to dream, because honestly it's scary to dream. Imagine you have a house and 5 kids, but you want to travel the world. A lot of fears will come up. That's how our reptile brain works. But if you have the guts to dream and really see and sit with it and let go of the emotion that isn't resonating, you can really go really deep and get a lot of energy. So these are a bit of 4 topics that I've been experimenting with and trying to link everything I learned from the individual projects we did at companies to prevent burnout, work on opening the heart, gratitude, about meditation, calming the mind, about emotional release. And yeah, I was excited to share it because this is one step of my process of, I don't know what I want to do with this. It's just been helping me so much the last 4 years, and in companies and projects. These are things I can't fully rationalize yet, but are helping to explain why productivity isn't linear, and why sometimes it's in 1 hour you can do 10 hours of work. And for me personal, it's my constant challenge. I have these habits and routines to get in my non-linear work, because honestly I'd rather work 1 hour and get 10 hours of work done than the other way around. So that's been my ongoing challenge, which I wanted to share with you today. Now, if you're interested, what I do, because all the research is part of my dream job. I help companies to create healthy cultures, and healthy means people who come with a smile, who are productive from their own, and the company facilitates it, but everything is measured. And I'm now attracting and looking for people all around the world who say, hey, I have the guts to go to companies and to think with them from everything there is, research-wise, worldwide, and help companies be a strategic advisor in health, and take health out of the fluffy, oh, we're going to do a nutrition or a sleep workshop, but bring health into this grounded, measurable, like, hey, this is what we did. So many people participated, and our company grew 1,000% in turnover, and it has happened. There are lots of research in America, in cities, who transformed by bringing in health. And my passion and mission and purpose is to measure it, detail what exactly, and predict for each company. What do you invest in? How are your people doing? Both for people to feel more relaxed, more happy, more purposeful, and for companies to strive, because how companies are going to look like in 10 years are going to be totally different. And it's very an exciting era. With all automation, we're just at the start. So I think that was about it. This was my intention, to share productivity, science, spirituality, all together. If you resonate with that and you feel, oh my God, I love all of it, and I see myself going in a company and talking about these things with management and acknowledging it's not a full picture yet, but helping them, like knowing if you put an intention, if you put a goal, hey, we have a lot of disease, and it's a lot. It's 1 to 10 burnouts. On average, 1 in 10 people is at home burning out, which is this circle, you know, too much in the masculine, too much action, we're so hard, we're also disciplined and good. And then bring them in the feminine. If this is your passion and it resonates, I'm very interested to have a call and hear what your life journey has been and how you would like to blend these two words. So I will share this, and I'm very excited to hear more. And if you have any questions or topics, and you ever wanna share it, I'm very interested. I also love doing duo interviews where we discuss a topic, like bring these two worlds together. So anyhow, I'm gonna breathe a bit more.